now for the silver AudioTechnica AT-LP120, the Pro-Ject Primary in white, and the red TEAC TN-300. Let's go! We head on now to the other aspects of these three turntables.
All three decks' TONEARMs are made of aluminium. The Pro-Ject sports a matte black finish, the AudioTechnica having a smooth, shiny finish, while the TEAC sports the most attractive satin finish. The Pro-Ject's short rails allows for little room for maneuverability if one were to attempt to better align the cartridge according to one of the three overhand curves, or when one attempts to swap cartridges. The TEAC's longish rails give better peace of mind, and so does the AudioTechnica. While both the AudioTechnica and TEAC allow for removable head shells, the AudioTechnica's one is more conventional and universal. Pro-Ject's head shell is fixed. The 1895E, worth US $40, is the stock standard cartridge provided by both the AT-LP120 and the TN-300. The Pro-Ject Primary comes with the more expensive Orthophon OM5E that is worth US $70. The Pro-Ject Primary's TONEARM base is Spartan and has no provision for both anti-skating nor TONEARM height adjustment. The TEAC is a bit better and allows for anti-skating adjustment, while the AudioTechnica is the best tier, allowing for both anti-skating and TONEARM height adjustment. The Pro-Ject's counterweight has no gradated markings, and while adjustment is still possible, it involves almost forcefully pulling it along the shaft back and forth, and very difficult to aim precisely at the specific tracking force down to 0.1 gram. You won't have this problem with the well-made counterweight mechanisms in both the TEAC and the AudioTechnica. The Pro-Ject's arm holder is simple and effective, while the TEAC and AudioTechnica involves a clip to secure the arm in place at the resting position. Here, the Pro-Ject's Q lever is the most robust and smooth in operation, the TEAC coming in second in feel and operation, while the AudioTechnica coming in last. The TEAC's plinth is the most well-made and attractive, smoothly laminated, substantial in feel and weight. Pro-Ject's plinth is of very lightweight MDF with a common corrugated finish, while the AudioTechnica's plinth and casing are made of hard plastic. Pro-Ject's platter is made of lightweight MDF. TEAC's and AudioTechnica's platters are both made of thin aluminium. Both aluminium platters are undamped. The Pro-Ject Primary comes with a very thin felt mat. The TEAC sports a good, well-made and robust thick rubber mat. The AT-LP120 has a thick felt mat. Both the Primary and the TN-300 are of belt drive designs, the Primary having an exposed motor spindle, while the TN-300 having a more elegant concealed motor spindle. And of course, the AT-LP120 is of a direct drive design. The Pro-Ject's on-off switch is a toggle switch, its design and construction very rudimentary. The AudioTechnica switch is better, while the TEAC's one is the most classy in feel and in look, well burnished aluminium with brushed concentric lines. The primary speed change is done manually, the upper groove of the motor spindle giving 33.3 while the lower groove 45 RPM. The similarly belts driven TEAC is better equipped with electronic button operated speed change. And of course, so does the direct drive AudioTechnica. Universal switch mode power supplies for the TEAC and Pro-Ject, accepting anything from 100 to 240 volts, 115 or 230 volts for the AudioTechnica. The TEAC beats the other two here in the provision of proper RCA terminals for potential upgrades of interconnect cables to link up with your phono stage or amplifier. The Pro-Ject and AudioTechnica each comes with captive stock cables. The TEAC and AudioTechnica each comes equipped with an onboard phono stage, but with crazy, outstanding sound coming from a shit money phono stage, it would be wise to have them bypassed. Fortunately, both the TEAC and AudioTechnica do come with this bypassable facility via a switch at the back. USB digital output available on the TEAC and AudioTechnica. All three decks come with good quality, thick plastic dust covers. But the TEAC and AudioTechnica come with notably better constructed hinges which allow freedom of movements from bottom to top and then a slight resistance before folding away and backwards securely. The Pro-Ject's hinges are stiff all the way and not as user-friendly. Rubber stoppers wisely installed on both TEAC's and AudioTechnica's dust covers to damp down the closing as well. New on the Pro-Ject. The Pro-Ject comes with 3 feet, a bit scrawny and placed quite inwards away from the edge of the deck. The AudioTechnica comes with 4 sturdy rubber feet placed at 4 corners to support this heaviest deck of the 3. TEAC's feet, I must say, are the best designed of the 3 decks, sporting a combination of aluminium and rubber and looking squat and purposeful at 4 extreme corners.
Now comes the critical discussion, starting off with sound quality. The TEAC is out of the running and out of consideration as a deck I can recommend due to its very significant, obvious and jarring, unstable speech stability which severely affected music's pitch and rhythm. I do not need any long, sustained piano notes to recognize this, just any usual pop or rock vinyl will do.
Killing it, never not chasing a million things I want. And I am only as young as the minute is full of it. Getting pumped up on the little bright things I bought.
Pitch and rhythm goes up, down, down, up, down, up, erratically, and this destroys your music listening. Pro-Ject gets my votes for best sound out of the box compared to the AT-LP120. The Pro-Ject Primary has an edge over the AT-LP120 as it gives better bass dynamics and better treble extension.
Imagine if the love that you thought you shared wasn't really there. Imagine if the love that you thought you shared wasn't really there. It was
Lost control. So please try to understand. Lost control. So please try to understand.
Otherwise, both the Pro-Ject and the AudioTechnica out of the box are able to provide non-fatiguing vinyl music reproduction, no edgy treble, no bloated bass, pretty balanced tonality, mid-range for both is okay, no sibilance, no upper mid-range brightness, not recessed.
There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. People get ready. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. Faith is the key, open the doors and go down. Faith is the key, open the doors and go down.
Friend, however, we need to address certain issues for the Pro-Ject Primary, and thus we head on now to the next step of discussion and further key revelations.
The Pro-Ject has a highly inaccurate and suboptimal stylus rake angle of 86 degrees, very far off from the ideal 92 degrees, and being of a value less than and not more than 92 degrees, it cannot be corrected to 92 degrees by putting the shim as provided to be sandwiched between the headshell and cartridge, nor by having thicker mats. The TONEARM base is not adjustable for height, and there is no aftermarket spacer available for this Pro-Ject arm to be placed underneath this TONEARM mounting base. Besides the inability to adjust for TONEARM base heights to tune in to the correct stylus rake angle, the other factors that count against this deck for cartridge upgrading are short rails in the headshell, thus very limited allowance for adjustment of the cartridge position in order to tune in to the correct overhang position. The anti-skating force is non-adjustable, fixed, and preset at the factory for the specific use of this cartridge OM5E. The counterweight mechanism has no gradated markings and is also very stiff. Thus, it is difficult to adjust to the correct tracking force of any different cartridge model used. Other niggles of this Pro-Ject Primary: the deck, plinth and platter itself is very light, but yet the dust cover hinges are very stiff. Thus, while lifting the dust cover, it is very easy to almost lift off the whole deck and shift the deck around. So imagine if you have reached the end of the record side, the platter is turning and the TONEARM is down on the record groove, and you walk over to the deck and you want to lift up the dust cover, you can very easily tip the TONEARM over and the TONEARM and cartridge will swing about across the record surface. What makes it worse are the feet, which are lined with smooth felt. The other niggle is this: because the belt is so near to the upper parts of the platter, it is so easy to accidentally lift off the belts together with the vinyl record, resulting in the belts snapping underneath the record. Now on to the AT-LP120. The AT-LP120 easily gets the vote over the Pro-Ject Primary for better flexibility and amenability for cartridge upgrading. It has adjustable TONEARM base height, provision of anti-skating adjustment, and longish headshell rails on its interchangeable headshell. However, I need to point out certain niggles. When we look at the SRA of this AudioTechnica AT-LP120 with its in-house AudioTechnica cartridge, it is way off. The SRA is way too raked at 94 degrees, and this is when the TONEARM base is already twisted down to its low zero marking point. The furthest lowest point we can twist it down is the minus 0.2 level, and the SRA corresponding to this minus 0.2 level is still way off at 93.9 degrees, as you can see here. I added a thick 5mm rubber mat and the SRA improved to 92.6 degrees. It is only after I added a further 1mm shim in between the cartridge and headshell did the SRA gets down to the correct 92 degrees. And friends, here I will point out further major flaws that prevents the AudioTechnica from being conducive to cartridge upgrading. The AT-LP120's TONEARM is not as friction-free as the Pro-Ject Primary's TONEARM. This poorer bearing construction and smoothness of the AudioTechnica will heavily limit the increments in sound quality should one spend more to upgrade to another cartridge. For example, the Goldring Electra, the Goldring 2100, Grado Green, Grado Red, Nagaoka MP110, Goldring 166, and the Nagaoka MP150. AT-LP120's TONEARM is really not so friction-free. One will easily realize this by simply comparing with its competitor, the Pro-Ject Primary. The difference in smoothness between the two is wide, easily felt, and discernible. Friends, we look at this. Here is the AT-LP120's TONEARM floating freely, tracking force 0. We start to increase the anti-skating force from 0. And as you can see, the TONEARM doesn't move until the anti-skating force hits 1.0, and it moves only a little bit. From 1.0 all the way to 2.9, there isn't any movement of the TONEARM. Only at 3.0, it starts to move a little bit again. And even if I tune it up all the way to 7.0, the TONEARM refuses to budge and it cannot go back to its resting position. All these just go to show that the TONEARM bearings are not smooth and its anti-skating mechanism is not working. My local retailer of this AT-LP120 has been kind and very honest. He had forewarned me about the above and demonstrated it at his store on all his units as well.
I feel that these turntable manufacturers did not care well enough for the most basic of considerations in turntable engineering. I feel that they are a bit careless and should do better in the manufacturing and execution. The Pro-Ject Primary's TONEARM base can be set higher so that the SRA can be closer to 92 degrees in order to realize the maximum potential of its cartridge, the OM5E, and not leave it squatting backwards at 86 degrees. The lowest point of the AudioTechnica's TONEARM base is still too high, resulting in highish SRA of 94 degrees, too ragged, and hence it should be engineered lower to allow the user to twist up and down the TONEARM base so as to better zoom in to the ideal 92 degrees for their stock AT95E and likewise any cartridge upgrades. Of course, the TEAC's unstable motor is the major bummer as you have seen. Compare all this to a used, good condition 15 to 18 year old SL1200 Mark III or Mark V, which can be bought at about $60 more, total cost of $360 including shipping from Japan's websites. SL1200's TONEARM is so much more free in movements, creamily smooth and frictionless. One can easily feel this. Look at this demonstration. Here we see the TONEARM floating freely at 0 gram and are purposely disadvantaged it with a heavy vintage Victor HEADSHELL and a heavier cartridge than the AT95E. When the anti-skating knob is turned up to just 0.6, the TONEARM starts to move, increasing slightly to 0.7 and it moves more, to 0.8 and it moves further. And from 0.9 to 1.0, the TONEARM swings so freely, easily, all the way to the resting position. All these show that the Technics TONEARM's bearings are way much better and you have anti-skating working properly, all for your money. Upgrading to a better cartridge will show up very easily and obviously in performance with a SL1200 Mark III or Mark V. The SL1200's platter is totally different and engineered to a much higher degree. The platter is generously thicker with aluminium, and not just that, Technics had conscientiously engineered and adhered a thick rubber damping layer to this thicker platter. How many new turntable models do you currently see at US $400 with thick aluminium platter, not less damped? The top plate is thicker and internally damped, and also backed by a heavy BMC bass to drastically damp down the whole deck and cut out vibrations to the platter and the TONEARM bass TONEARM stylus. The SL1200 switches are all solidly built, robust, of a different reassuring feel, precise and also nice to operate. The Technics engineers know what they are doing. All these as opposed to the hollow, thin, undamped and ringing platter of the AudioTechnica. And likewise the tacky, plasticky and undamped top plates and base plate. Dear friends, I started off this 3 turntable shootout spending my own monies and really hoping that I can discover and recommend great decks. The TEAC I realized I cannot recommend. The Pro-Ject Primary I'd recommend amongst the 3 as having the best sound out of the box and if one has no plans to upgrade the cartridge. And if one is thinking of a deck as a superior foundation for flexibility, I really have no choice and there's no way I can recommend the AT-LP120 when one can bring in a colossally better deck, a means pre-loved SL1200 Mark III or Mark V from Japan at a slightly higher price. There are also many used Technics SL1200 decks at Disc Union Shibuya branch. Go to the 3rd story and get it packed for carry-on luggage. Thank you very much my dear friends and see you soon for the next turntable shootout between the Pro-Ject deck and a Riga deck.
Alright friends, I'm very happy I've gotten through level 2 and level 3 and they let me film the whole store. Let's get to level 4 now.
Plus I'm getting rain from this chick like